In independent India, there were two types of people: those who did not want to even catch a glimpse of the Britishers, as their torturous reality of colonization had affected them deeply, and the others who had brownie during the British period and still considered them to be their master. However, both together could not stitch diplomatic ties with the United Kingdom. See, diplomatic relations are an expansion of trust between one nation and its leadership and another nation and its people, and vice versa. In the early year of the India's independence, while it was hardly balancing the two giants, America and the Soviet Union, it was the major force within the non-alignment movement which initially sought to avoid the Cold War. This contrasts with Britain's position as a founding member of NATO and a key ally of the United States. But courtesy to Bhura Babu's, India became a part of Commonwealth even after becoming a republic. Still, it took almost 50 years to upgrade the India-United Kingdom partnership to a strategic one. It could only happen in 2004. India's multifaceted bilateral relationship with the UK intensified with its upgrade to the strategic partnership. Today, India is a key partner of the UK, and the partnership has expanded to realm of trade and security too. However, no diplomatic relationship can flourish if it's one-sided. Why do I say this? Let's find out. Namaste and welcome to TFI Post. I am your host Shikhar Tripathi. Let's begin with the video report. India has witnessed a fresh revival of the Khalistani movement in the past year outside its borders. From the UK to the US to Australia to Canada, all the Western nations are crowded with Khalistani sympathizers, and on their soil, there has been a resurrection of the Khalistani movement. In recent weeks, in the aftermaths of Punjab police chase of separatist Amritpal Singh, the Indian mission have witnessed protests. The most violent was at the Indian House in London, where the protesters, or shall I say the Khalistani sympathizer or terrorists, not only broke the windows but also tried to bring down the Indian tricolor. The intervention of an Indian officer posted as the commission, however, did not let that happen. So, while a man climbed up the wall of the Indian Commission, what were the forces in London doing? As we all know, the responsibility of providing security to foreign missions lies on the shoulder of the host nation. What followed after that? A week of diplomatic tensions between the UK and India led India to withdraw security barricades from outside the British High Commission in New Delhi. The British envoy was also summoned by the Indian government to seek answer over the actions against the separatist elements who vandalized the Indian House in London. Britain did a security ramp up. The British Foreign Secretary James cleverly said that the country will review security at Indian High Commission in London following unacceptable act of violence towards the mission's staff. Well, you might be thinking that the relationship would have been back on track. It could have been that the UK would not have shown its true colors. While there exists diplomatic tension between India and the UK, all the United Kingdom want is India's money and market. Well, old habits die hard. And the UK doing this is just a presentation of its old colonial mindset. Why do I say this? It is because the UK government has recently said that the free trade agreement negotiations between New Delhi and London and the tension is a bilateral relationship over India's concern about security at the High Commission were two distinct issues. Yes, have no doubts, you have heard me right. The spokesperson for UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak told the press that two issues are unconnected. What's more, the spokesperson said, trade talk with India continue and both sides want to see us achieve a full trade agreement. The spokesperson also mentioned that the free trade agreement between the two countries would enhance the relationship between the two nations. Yes, we do agree. Agreements are meant to do so, but at what cost? Because if the UK wants to achieve a free trade agreement, subverting India's security interests, there is no chance that India will move forward with it. Further, securing the free trade agreement won't help the UK to secure its economy, which is in dual terms, if it allows itself to play pawn at the hand of Khalistanis, and Islamists. India recently surpassed its former colonizer Britain to be the fifth largest economy in the world. This clearly speaks volume about not only India's growth but also highlighted that the entire Europe along with the United Kingdom can almost be tracked back to its cutting and gathering days. And anytime soon the Britishers will be seen doing agriculture for their livelihood. The UK's economy is in doldrum with businesses facing all-time high cost and taxes. If the IMF is to be believed, the UK happens to be the major economy that will contract this year. Further, inflation continues to erode pay, worsening a long-standing decline in living standards. Supply chain remains fragile, and the country is experiencing the worst wave of strike action in 30 years. Financial market turbulence could make matter worse, and the country wants to save its fortune by signing an FTA with India, which would definitely give it the much needed boost. Now you can connect the dots and understand the UK's push behind an FTA with India. So, with all this said, you must have heard Indian Minister Piyush Goyal says that the negotiations for the FTA are going very well with the UK. You have got it right. He did say that trade stand on its own leg. But what you have missed is that the Union Minister has said it very clear that India will take into consideration respect for her sovereignty and territorial integrity and will not tolerate any interference in its internal affairs. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar had also said that India would not accept different standards of security, accusing the UK of not meeting its obligation to provide security to the diplomats of the mission. He had explicitly mentioned that many countries are very casual about security. They have a different view about their own security and a different view about other people's security. But I can tell you, as a foreign minister, that we are not going to accept this kind of different standard. Now, you tell me, after listening to the Trade Minister and Commerce Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister, isn't it clear that India is not going to bow down this time? And that what comes first is country's national interest. No deal can be cracked until you stop being puppets at the hand of Khalistanis and Islamists. This is a message India is sending out clearly.